Out of the blue corner, wearing the silver trunks with gold trim. He stands 6 feet 4 inches tall. He weighed in at 15 stone, 5 pounds, 3 ounces. He comes to us with a professional record of 20 victories versus just 1 loss. And he fights right here in Manchester, England. Introducing the former IBF European Cruiserweight Champion and the former IBO World Cruiserweight Champion, Jack One Smack Massey! And his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, wearing the black trunks with blue and red trim. He stands 6 feet 4 inches tall. He weighed in at 17 stone, 7 pounds, 5 ounces. He comes to us with a professional record of 30 victories versus 3 losses, with 21 wins coming by way of knockout. And he fights out of Morecambe, England, by way of South Auckland, New Zealand. He is known by some as Lupe Soliai Laolia Mailatoa, but he is known around the world as the former WBO World Heavyweight Champion, Joseph Parker!
Jack. Fellas, both know the rules, keep it clean. I don't want anything low, watch your heads. And when I say break, take a step back. Most importantly, defend yourself at all times.
So referee Darren Sargentson with the final instructions ahead of this contest that has set the boxing grapevine abuzz, because the former WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Joseph Parker, looking to bounce back from defeat against Joyce last time out, is facing a career-long cruiserweight in the form of local lad Jack One Smack Massey. So we're underway then. This is action in the heavyweight division. First round of a 10-round contest, and Joseph Parker, wearing black trunks trimmed with red and blue, got onto the front foot immediately. Jack Massey, a similar height, but some 2 stone, 2 pounds lighter than Joseph Parker. As the two men lock horns at center ring, Jack Massey wearing grey trunks trimmed with gold. It's been the month of January, first outing of the new year for both boxers. And Joseph Parker, 10 pounds lighter than he was in his last outing against Joe Joyce. And remember, as a heavyweight, he's often the smaller man and looks to use his speed and mobility. But here, as the two men lock horns once again, is Joseph Parker looking to employ his greater bulk and heft, which will perhaps wear down Jack Massey in the later stages. It's Joe Parker on the front foot, Jack Massey skitting left and right near the neutral corner on the far side of the ring. And Joseph Parker just moving to his left, looking to cut off the right anti-clockwise movement of Jack Massey, who is keeping his back skimming against the ropes, and now he's retreated to the red corner on the far side of the ring, moving away from the right hand of Joe Parker, who scores with a left jab, right cross, left hook to the body before the two men lock horns on the inside once again. Jack Massey cleverly turns the tables, and referee Darren Sargentson has called time, and he's speaking to both boxers in no uncertain terms about the responsibility to box and not grapple in this heavyweight contest through the first half of this opening round. So time in called, and the action resumes. It's Jack Massey taking up his familiar position on the perimeter of the boxing ring, comes forward with a terrific double jab and overhand right, which is applauded by the knowledgeable fans here at the Manchester Arena, showing his pedigree and his quality. Remember, he's lost just once in his 21-fight professional career, and that was a hotly disputed decision against Richard Riakporhe for the vacant British Cruiserweight title at the York Hall. Not overawed by the reputation or the greater physical stature of Joseph Parker, and landed perhaps the cleanest combination of the entire contest with that double jab right hand success. Inside the final minute of this opening round, and it's Massey cutting an elusive figure, again skitting both left and right. But when his back touched the strands, he was hit by a hard left hand to the shoulder, followed by a right hand to the body. Parker kept the momentum going, and now has got his head on the clavicle of Jack Massey and was digging away with the right hand. Referee Darren Sargentson separates the two, and the action is just on the edge of range. But Massey again feinting with that jab, moving it up and down in semaphore fashion. Solid double jab from Joseph Parker. Shot out from the baseline. There he dropped from the belt line. There he dropped a good left jab to the body. And again, he's clumping away with bent arm right hands while wrapping up Jack Massey around the rear. Roughhouse tactics being employed by Joseph Parker, who trains in Tyson Fury's gym in Morecambe, remember, in the Northwest, under the tutelage of the former WBO middleweight kingpin Andy Lee. And it's Massey moving in clockwise fashion to his left, using fast-footed moves to maintain the gap between himself and Parker. Competitive opening round of boxing, Steve Bunch. Parker on the front foot, Massey skitting left and right.
And Massey trying to tangle, trying to hold him when they were close, which I thought might be a bit of a plan. And Joe won't wrestle him, he's got no need to. Cracking right-hand counter that caught Joseph Parker, and Joseph Parker knew all about that. He's quite marked up, Massey. His nose looks red already, his right eye looks red already. I can see Andy Lee telling him in the corner, set him up with a jab, touch him, let your shots go, don't try and get too close. Take your time.
That's right, it's the corner, as you said there, Steve. You've got the experience of Andy Lee. I'd say a bit of the inexperience with Jack Massey, his change trainers for young Robert Rimmer. Charlie Schofield's in there with Kevin Marie. But I think Joe Parker came out there, tried to impose himself, which he did. Then when he came in for a second phase, he was met with a stiff right hand. That's made him think a little bit more about on the way in. But when they are getting up, Jack Massey's holding on and trying to negate his way through these first early rounds.
Round two.
So into the second round we go. Joseph Parker marching out to centre ring. Jack Massey jogged from the blue corner on the near side of the ring up to around figure 1 on the clock face, and now he's moving left once again. Terrifically quick feet being demonstrated by Jack Massey, and Joseph Parker taking the shorter route around the ring, looking to keep Jack Massey on the periphery of it. But a beautiful left jab as he stepped out of the blue corner and then shot off to his left to the space of centre ring. One and gone by Jack Massey, who shoots out a lead left hand once again, but looking to slow down those quick feet. Joseph Parker scores with a solid left jab to the abdomen of Jack Massey, and it's Jack Massey edging towards his own corner, dips beneath a left hook, and again steps into range, lands a left jab of his own before Joseph Parker employs a headlock, putting the head of Jack Massey beneath his left armpit, forcing the intervention of referee Darren Sargentson. But then on the resumption, it's a quick-footed raiding attack from Jack Massey, who stepped in while the command of break was still reverberating around the arena, scored without reply, and it's back beyond punching range once again. But Joseph Parker continuing to shoot out a spearing left jab to the body. He had Jack Massey pinned in the neutral corner on this near side of the ring, and then walks him back to the turnbuckle once again. Referee Darren Sargentson prizes the two men apart, and the action is on top of the logo at ring center. Joseph Parker proffering a low-held lead left hand. There's a wide avenue of opportunity between the gloves of Jack Massey, and now he's looking to long bridge his man. And again, in terms of height, there is very little between them. Looking one another eye to eye. Jack Massey 6'3", Joseph Parker 6'4", and it's Jack Massey who's retreated to the neutral corner on the far side of the ring, standing, inviting pressure. And Joseph Parker initiated an attack, landing a solid right hand to the body. The two men walk one another out to centre ring, and it's Parker leaning on once again, backing up Jack Massey. 2 minutes gone in the second round. So Parker just up on his toes, feinting with a double jab. He pulled the trigger, but it was forced to fall short by Jack Massey, backing up and employing reverse gear. Massey, again, just beyond the punching range, but he's clocking up far more miles in that boxing ring because he's constantly circumnavigating it, while Joseph Parker is remaining anchored to ring center and taking far fewer steps compared with those of Jack Massey. And Jack Massey just leaning over the strands, and by employing the layback, he was able to take something off a right hand that was fired in with bad intentions by Joseph Parker. Inside the final 30 seconds of this second round, and it's Jack Massey shaping and feinting on the edge of range, steps in and lands with a beautiful bent arm double jab. The first one was really solid, and the second one came at speed but wasn't as potent. Joseph Parker scores with a left jab to the body once again as Massey has retreated towards the red corner at around figure 11 on the clock face, over on the far side of the ring. Parker feinting, and he scores with a driving right cross to the body and a left hook which lands on the shoulder. But Jack Massey walks back to the blue corner with a grin on his face, Steve Bunce, after the way he acquitted himself in round 2.
He looked happy, he was just a little bit faster, and Joe looks not concerned, that's the wrong word. Joe's having to think about it, and you know what's really interesting thing, and I'll ask you this, Joe. When I was talking to Joseph Parker the other day, I said, Joe, is there any chance that you're taking him lightly? Now, you may do all the training, you may do all the running, but somewhere in your mind, somewhere in your head, you have to just take that bit of pressure off yourself, thinking you're fighting a career, as Ronald called him, a career cruiserweight. And he's fighting at the moment. It looks a bit confused, Joseph Parker.
Here's, listen, Joseph Parker, as you said before, former world heavyweight champion. Let's not forget
He's
that.
a good fighter.
Yeah, exactly. Listen, but Jack Massey, he isn't sitting there. He isn't being the sitting duck. He's moving left, he's moving right, and he's making Joseph beginning to overreach in that jab. And all the time you can see Jack thinking, I've got to let that right hand go, I've got to let it go again. If Joseph overshoots that jab and he's his head over the front foot, he's got to get caught with a right hand. He's making him think, Jack.
So we move into the third round. Jack Massey actually ascended to fringe world honors as he steps into a left jab to the body before getting up onto his toes and moving back beyond punching range once again. Joseph Parker employing head movement, but Jack Massey skitting in and out of range. Is Joseph Parker edging forwards on feet that are quick, but perhaps not as quick as those of Jack Massey, who scores with another left jab without reply once again, sliding off to his left, and before changing direction and moving counterclockwise to his right. He's back, just skimming the ropes as he escaped from the blue corner on this near side of the ring. He's back in the space of centering, and Joseph Parker, who again, mobility is often his edge, his asset, his advantage in against the modern day hulking heavyweights. Good right cross driven into the body by Joseph Parker, but here in the speed stakes through the first 2 minutes and 1 minute of this third round, Jack Massey's elusiveness just proving challenging for Joe Parker to get to grips with. Steps into range once again, does Jack Massey, lands with a jab and then wraps his man up to prevent him from working away. Joseph Parker trying to free that left hand and dig away with it. Darren Sargentson pushed the two men beyond punching range with the command of break. Approaching the midpoint of this third round, and it's Jack Massey retreating to the red corner. Oh, that's a solid right hand landed by Joseph Parker. It was a right hook which landed solidly on the jaw of Jack Massey. His legs just appeared to dip and he appeared to waver a little bit, but now he's got his legs back beneath him and he's looking to get back to the fleet-footed movement which has served him to good effect in this contest so far. But there, the educated right hook of Joseph Parker was a really eye-catching shot, and he's just patiently stalking his man. Jack Massey moving counterclockwise away from that right hook, but he may be walking onto a left hook of Joseph Parker if Parker can guide him into it. Left jab without reply lands from Jack Massey once again. Left jab to the body was shot out by Joseph Parker, who attempted to come upstairs with a double left hook, but they were blocked by the right hand of Jack Massey. Action is at figure 12, directly opposite us on the far side of the ring, and now Joseph Parker doubling up the left hook, body then head, as Jack Massey slips away to the space of centre ring, and now he has retreated once again towards the neutral corner turnbuckle on the far side of the ring. Exchange of jabs with Jack Massey was sharper. Good parry with the right hand from Joseph Parker to block a left jab that was fired in towards his torso, and then Joseph Parker scores with a left jab of his own as Massey is near the neutral corner on this near side of the ring. Right cross, double left hook, where the second one did get through for Joseph Parker. Approaching the 10-second clapper in this third round, and Joseph Parker has landed the most solid shot of the entire contest in this stanza, a right hook on the jaw of Jack Massey over near the red corner on the far side of the ring. 10-second clapper has sounded. Joseph Parker found his back on the neutral corner turnbuckle, and the referee separated the two before they walked back to their respective corners.
Massey, listen, he wasn't hurt, he wasn't stunned, he wasn't about to go down, but he felt the power. What he felt there was a short shot. If it had travelled 6 more inches, it might have been absolutely lethal, it might have finished him. But what also happened in that round is Joseph Parker started to move a little bit, started to think a little bit, was wasting less shots. You talked about at the end of the second round, Joe, how he was wasting 1 or 2 shots at being countered. Took his time there, starting to measure it. It might just be a matter of time now. It might just be a matter of time now, Joe.
Yeah. I'd said that Joe was beginning to find his groove then. The poking shots that became thudding shots. It became coming with the left hooks, doubling up on the left
power
hook.
in different punches.
Different hooks, yeah, exactly. And listen, Jack Massey's doing well. He's trying to keep out the trouble, out of danger, but there wasn't much in return from Jack in that round. And like I say, Joe's finally into the groove here now. We'll see how this goes.
Seconds out. Round 4.
So we go into the fourth round. Jack Massey endured a really difficult 2022 in terms of boxing. Just one contest against the journeyman, which he won with a second round stoppage in a bout scheduled for 10. Prior to that, he was stripped of his fringe IBO cruiserweight world title because he simply couldn't find any cruiserweights to fight him. and Steve and I were discussing how this fight came into being, and he was actually on a building site getting some money for his family on a building site with his brother, dealing with the scaffold poles, when the phone rang and he answered the call, and here he is on the platform here at the Manchester Arena, facing off against a former WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Joseph Parker, who's looking to go to work now. Action over near the far side of the ring. Clumping right hand was driven in, then turned into an uppercut from Joseph Parker, and it's Joseph Parker moving with efficiency. Jack Massey jumps in with a left jab to the body, and then the two boxers entwine arms. Joseph Parker continues to nudge away with his right hand to the left flank of Jack Massey. Joseph Parker so efficient with his movement here now in round number 4 with a minute gone. Jack Massey dropping his hands, going walkabout, his face reddened and his hair matted from his exertions and the water that he's been doused down with. As Joseph Parker drives in a hard right hand with Jack Massey over on the ropes on the far side of the ring. And it's Joseph Parker moving with increasing authority now, and the greater experience and indeed bulk of Joseph Parker beginning to tell. Jack Massey steps in with that double jab, but it's not nearly as potent as it was earlier on. There's an eye-catching right cross from Jack Massey, landed with a high elbow and a bent arm, then he followed it up with a left jab to the body. But Joseph Parker giving the impression of somebody who is just beginning to get the measure of his man now. He's moving with increasing certitude, double jab, right cross to the body, followed by another jab which just negotiated its way through the defenses of Jack Massey. And Joseph Parker now beginning to move rhythmically, his left hand resting on his quad. Short scores with a left jab to the body once again. Massey walking away as though he may have felt the effects of that shot. As Parker continues to look to break him down to the body. Jack Massey momentarily employing a headlock, putting Joseph Parker's head beneath his left elbow. Parker coming back behind a double jab, neither found the range, but now he's got Jack Massey pinned on the ropes, and a thunderous right hook gets around the left glove of Jack Massey from Joseph Parker, and he felt that shot down to his boots. He's displaying a stout set of whiskers, because for the second time in 2 rounds, the right hook of Joseph Parker has found a home on the jaw of Jack Massey. 19 seconds remaining in this 4th round, and Joseph Parker again really looking at giving the impression of a boxer who fancies this mission now. It's as though he's got the skittish movements of Jack Massey figured out, and again he is beginning to increase his accuracy and indeed his power. We're going to listen into the blue corner just above our commentary position and hear the instructions being given to Jack Massey.
Listen, don't give me signs in there that you're just trying to survive, like, okay? I need to see that you're actually in there and you're alert and you're working. If you stand against them ropes, Jack, he sets his feet and he launches a bomb, okay? That's what he's looking for, and you're giving it back.
Kevin Marie there saying exactly what I'd expect a seasoned man like Kevin Marie to say. I don't want to see you surviving, I want to see you showing me something. I thought that was the most refreshing thing, one of the most refreshing things I've heard in the corner for a long time, John.
No, it is. The thing is with Jack, when he does throw the right hand, he has success with it. He's only thrown it 3 times and landed 3 times. But Joseph Parker was very cute that round. He threw plenty of right hooks to the body, and he brought that left elbow down, and when he pinned him on the ropes, he drove over a ferocious right hook over the top, which was a great shot.
Was a good shot.
Seconds out. Round 5.
Well, Joseph Parker was up early off his stall to begin the 5th round. Jack Massey took every second of the 60 and then some. His corner man Kevin Marie saying that, listen, this isn't a survival mission, you have got to show me something. And Jack Massey has come out with more urgency now, his feet moving with the type of tempo that he demonstrated in the first 2 rounds and perhaps the 3rd round as well. But the further the contest has gone on, the more comfortable Joseph Parker has become, and he's just looking to impose himself once again here in this 5th frame. But Jack Massey, heeding the instructions of Kevin Marie, fires a left jab, right cross, left hook, and the left hook did land. Not with full force or potency, but it did get behind the right glove of Joseph Parker. Headlock employed by Joe Parker just forces the referee to step in and separate the 2 boxers, and they're on a top rating on top of the logo. Parker was made to miss, then a right hand lead followed by a left jab. A reverse 1-2 was fired in by Massey, as Parker now hands up like an old school boxer from the turn of the 20th century. Now he's proffering that relaxed guard once again and walking forward with complete confidence. Lands a left jab as Massey claims him around the waist and charges him back across the ring to figure 9 on the clock face. Referee separates the 2 boxers and they find themselves in the middle of the boxing ring once more. Double jab from Jack Massey as he's showing greater ambition and intent behind his punches here in this 5th round compared to the manner in which he went about his business in the 4th round. Real good response from Jack Massey, but Joseph Parker is proving difficult to perturb here, and he is moving forward with increasing certainty halfway through this 5th round. Jack Massey bobbing and weaving at centre ring, fires a left jab as he continues the lateral movement left and right, but a left jab followed by a right cross, and then the same combination once again landed twice in quick succession, and these punches having an increasingly pronounced effect on Jack Massey because he just wilted after taking that 4-shot combination. Action is over at near figure 11 on the clock face on the far side of the ring, and when Joseph Parker lets his hands go, well, it is having a notable, demonstrable effect here deep into this 2nd round. And we're just taking a look at Jack Massey's face is reddening. Now, the referee has called time and is giving a stern talking to both boxers about reckless use of the head and headlocks being employed in the boxing ring. So that was stern admonishment in the direction of both boxers. Time in called, 39 seconds remaining in this 5th round. Jack Massey stepping in behind a left jab and then a right cross over the top, and Jack Massey looking to get busy with that lead left hand once again. There's another physical encounter at close range, shoulder to shoulder, and again you have to feel that Joseph Parker will be the governor in those coming together. There we look for a right cross, which was just a glancing blow off the jaw of Jack Massey. But Joseph Parker here, for once the bigger boxer by some distance, but beautiful movements off the ropes on the far side of the ring by Jack Massey, and then he's digging away with a left hook to the body. That's why the crowd applauded, because Jack Massey showing plenty of intent and alertness as he got himself out of the corner and looked to counter.
He's still in the fight, but then part of the reason he's still in the fight is that Joseph Parker hasn't really put that much pressure on him. Whether it's because we saw that last 10 seconds there, where Joe set him up with a right hand and it missed by an awful long way, and then Jack was able to counter him. I'd like to see Joseph Parker get a little bit closer with his front foot, let the jab go, touch with the jab, and let the right hand go. I don't think it will take a lot to break and hurt Jack Massey, Joe. I don't think it will take a lot.
No, I think Joseph Parker is being 1 and 2 on 1 and 2. For the first time in that round, he put 4 together, and the 4 shots together had an effect. And he needs to go through that with a 2nd and possibly a 3rd phase and just turn that screw a little bit more now. Jack's beginning to redden up about the phase, to understand he's a sitting duck when he freezes on the ropes, and Joe Parker's got to throw more than 2 on the ropes.
Round 6.
So 5 rounds completed, a scheduled 5 rounds to go in this heavyweight contest that is scheduled for 10. A most unusual encounter as Jack Massey answering the call while working as a scaffolder during the frigid winter at the back end of last year. Remember, he only fought just once in 2021. Stripped of his IBO title as he lands a good right hand, which brings a spirited round of applause from his fans here. And Jack Massey, born and bred in the Peak District, rather ponderous left-right combination was easily evaded by Jack Massey, and then a bull rush from Jack Massey, who lowered his shoulder and drove it into the torso of Joseph Parker, driving him back to the ropes on the far side of the ring. And the referee, Darren Sargentson, has called time once again. That's the 3rd time he's done this in this contest, and said, listen, clean this up, let's box and not maul one another. Time in called, 50 seconds gone, right hand, left hook. Are eye-catching shots from Jack Massey, but Joseph Parker barely blinked as that left hook landed around the cheekbone. And this contest just giving the impression as he lands a left jab, right cross once again. Jack Massey, full of industry and accurate punch picking through this 1st minute and 10 seconds of the 6th round. But it's just giving the impression of a bigger brother facing off against a little brother, because Jack Massey, despite the successes that he's having, they're not overly troubling Joseph Parker, who, having felt the sharpness of Massey's punch and the potency of them as well. Oh, that's a beautiful double jab right uppercut from Joseph Parker in the middle of the boxing ring, and it swiveled the head of Jack Massey backwards as though it was on a hinge. He took it well, he's still in there pitching, but these punches from a fully fledged heavyweight, a former heavyweight champion of the world, against a career-long cruiserweight, well, these are beginning to take their toll surely, as Parker fires a left jab and right cross, but the right cross was off the mark as Jack Massey swung off the line. Joseph Parker takes an overarching right hand from Jack Massey, who is demonstrating terrific competitive spirit. And he really is showing tremendous desire here in this contest, which isn't a catchweight contest, it's a heavyweight contest, but he is considerably outweighed by a fully fledged heavyweight. And we mentioned the fact that he won a fringe world title. I can't think of many cruiserweight debutants or heavyweight debutants from the cruiserweight division who have stepped up and faced such a formidable opponent as Jack Massey is doing here against Joseph Parker tonight. Perhaps Steve Bunsen, Joe Gallagher could ruminate on that as a sharp left hook is fired in by Joseph Parker. The right cross came on a downward trajectory, and now Joseph Parker is looking to step on the gas as he shovels in a two-shot combination to the body with the palms turned upwards, and Jack Massey cutting a rather ragged figure now. He's leaning on, and these punches perhaps beginning to take their toll. Jack Massey regains his boxing stance, the action just on the edge of range. Beautiful counter right hand landed by Jack Massey as Joe Parker fell short because he didn't take his feet with him. We're going to go over to the red corner and listen in to Andy Lee and hear the instructions he's giving the former WBO heavyweight champ, Joseph Parker. And that's after Andy Lee is remonstrating with the referee, Darren Sargentson. Let's listen in.
Good box. Don't fall into his trap and don't get desperate. Don't get falling on into a fight with this guy. Keep his shape. Touches. When he comes, right hand, left hook, just let him float up and let it flow, okay? You hurt him all the time. You don't have to load up.
That sounds like sensible advice. Don't go wild, don't get caught out, just still keep looking for simple, straightforward shots. I think the referee is being over picky. I mean, okay, it's a little bit messy and a bit ugly. Sorry, Joe, we're running out of time, but it's not that bad.
No, I think the referee's been a little bit fussy, but touching Andy Lee, yeah, I think Joseph needs to hold his shape a little bit more and let that left foot, right hand go.
So we move into the 7th round after what was a really strong display in round number 6 for Joseph Parker. Jack Massey is in the fight, but I don't think he's winning the fight. I think it would be a really generous observer who gave Jack Massey any round so far, but there he lands with a long, crisp right cross and followed it with a half hook, half uppercut with the left hand, the right cross right on the money as Joseph Parker offering a long guard, arms out in front of him, like a young George Foreman before the two boxers fall into one another. And Jack Massey was looking to dig away with the right hand. On the resumption, it's Joseph Parker who walks in behind a double right-left jab, and then he's nudging away with both lefts and rights while tying up Jack Massey at the same time. Joseph Parker not averse to a couple of kidney punches there, reaching over the back of Jack Massey and knocking away with his right hand. And a beautiful right uppercut, left hook, followed by a right hook on the inside by Jack Massey. Not much pop on the punches, but make no mistake, they are scoring punches. Mentioned Jack Massey's almost perfect record in and around the domestic cruiserweight scene. ABA silver medalist back in the 2013 edition of the championships, losing to another domestic cruiserweight on the rise, the gentleman Chris William-Smith, who Steve Bunt and I commentated on ringside at the Bournemouth Centre just before Christmas. He's here in the arena tonight, as is a whole host of British boxing royalty. More on that as we go through the night. But here and now in this heavyweight contest, which has captured the imagination of fight fans because of the unlikely nature of it, is Jack Massey still continuing to demonstrate terrific competitive spirit. Now, whether he's going to go back down to cruiserweight or remain at heavyweight, we'll ruminate on all of that after the contest. But here and now is Joseph Parker on the front foot, scores with a left jab, right hook to the body, looking to bring that left hand of Jack Massey down. And then there's another tangle over at figure 3 on the clock face, with Joseph Parker lowering his head and just rubbing the back of Jack Massey across the strands as he walked in towards the neutral corner on the far side of the ring. Nice layback employed by Joseph Parker to avoid the jab that was fired out by Jack Massey, and then Joseph Parker intelligently scores with that stiff left jab to the body once again. Jack Massey continuing to bob and weave, and out of a crouch he lands with a single left hook which just scores against Joseph Parker, and then Jack Massey walking him back to the near side of the ring, pinning him against the ropes momentarily. Well, Joseph Parker, for the dominance that he showed in that 6th round, seems to have taken his foot off the gas here in round number 7. And Jack Massey, is continually being able to compete. And once again, the referee, Darren Sargentson, calling time, and he's reading the riot act in the direction of Jack Massey. It was a one-way verbal warning this time, not in both directions, as Joseph Parker comes forward behind a double right, left jab and right cross to the body. All of the punches fell short because Jack Massey backed up, attempted that right hook again over near this blue corner on the near side of the ring, but it didn't land cleanly.
It didn't land cleanly, and an awful lot of punches in that round didn't land cleanly. In fact, if we analyse this and we do a bit of forensic analysis at the end of the fight, we might look back on this fight as a fight where not very much landed that clean, to be perfectly honest with you, Ronald. And in some ways, Jack Massey has landed the cleaner shots, half a dozen counters with the right hand and the short left hooks. The problem is that's all he's landed. Joseph Parker, meanwhile, could have done and should maybe be doing more, John.
We heard at the end of the last round Andy Lee asking to Joseph Parker to hold his shape, hold his composure, and he came out and didn't do it whatsoever.
Did the absolute opposite.
No, yeah, it's like Jack Massey landed a right uppercut left hook at the beginning of the round. Like you said, Steve, if we're in an amateur event years ago on computer scoring, Jack Massey would be right in this fight with the clean shots landed.
10 seconds.
I tell you what is interesting, Jack Massey's saying, I'm a heavyweight in a great British division, full of loads of talent. He's announced himself in the British heavyweight division
Round
at least.
8.
So into the 8th round then, Joseph Parker enjoying a really strong 6th round, but just ceded the momentum in round number 7, and Jack Massey, encouraged by that, has come out swinging away with the two boxers tangled at close range. Referee Darren Sargentson had to separate the two boxers once again. Is Joseph Parker on the front foot. Massey, directly above our commentary position, took a jab to the torso before spinning off the line back to the space of ring centre. And the two men just throwing feints and shaping up on the edge of punching range. Left jab with a scoring shot to the body from Jack Massey. And now Joseph Parker not using his superior weight of 2 stone and 2 pounds and allowing himself to be walked backwards to the ropes on the near side of the ring. And it's Jack Massey who is triggering off the attacks first. And just wonder whether the intensity has dropped in the work of Joseph Parker. When the two men came together after their weigh-in stage yesterday, it was a stare down that was filled with intensity. Joseph Parker started the contest in that vein, but terrific punch-picking in combination fashion once again sees a few of the punches during that fusillade get through from Jack Massey. And Joseph Parker doing an awful lot of spoiling, an awful lot of mauling as he swings with a rather crude agricultural right uppercut that missed by a country mile. But the sharpness has disappeared from his work here in round 6 and 7, and he's having little success to speak of. Meanwhile, the comparatively pitter-pat punches of Jack Massey has produced the more eye-catching work. Beyond the midpoint of this 8th round, and it's Joseph Parker again allowing himself to be walked backwards by Jack Massey as the two men locked horns on the inside once again. So it's Jack Massey on the front foot, reverse right hand, double left jab, but all the punches fell short. And now Joseph Parker sharpening up his work once again, snaking out a solid left jab, which was a scoring shot. Two men just on the edge of range, lead left hook of Joe Parker gets through. Jack Massey tries the same shot, but is partially blocked by the right glove of Joseph Parker. Counter right uppercut is a double right hand. First a half hook and then uppercut, followed by a downward right cross, and then double jab success for Jack Massey, who appears to be imbued with renewed and refound belief after enjoying a rather torrid 6th round. But since that time, through round 7 and here in round 8, well, he's industrious, he's active, and he is confident, up on his toes. And Joseph Parker, well, he's just allowing Jack Massey to work, and he's not increasing the level, as we would expect a former world heavyweight champion to do when facing off against a heavyweight debutant who he outweighs by some considerable margin and possesses an abundance more experience as well. Well, the referee has called time once again, and Jack Massey could find himself in trouble here, and indeed he has, because despite sharpshooting here in round number 8, he's been issued a warning and docked a point. So he can score no more than 9 in this round with the 10-point must system, which is a real shame, because he was putting his punches together effectively and punch-picking very well indeed, and ends on the bell with a more effective combination. But Dr. Points, he can't win that round.
He can't win. I thought that was a bit harsh. We said in the last round, we thought the referee was maybe being a bit fussy, and I think it was definitely the case there. This is a really odd fight. I'm a bit bemused by Joseph Parker's attitude. And Ronald, you're right, they were eye to eye. There was a degree of intensity at the weigh-in. And there has been, or there was in earlier rounds, a degree of intensity. It looks to me like Joseph Parker's just kind of lost his way. It looks like he's maybe kind of bored in some ways, Joe. It's not, it's the worst performance I've ever seen of Joseph Parker.
Yeah, I think Joseph Parker seems to have gone into sparring mode. I think it's sparring mode. He'll land a good shot. He'll move around, get caught with a shot. Take that, he's getting caught with a shot. But I think Jack Massey, the common theme all through all the rounds, every now and again he throws the right hand, it lands. I just hope now Jack Massey in his corner say to him, listen, you've got nothing to lose here. We've got 6 minutes left. Let some more shots go. You might have a chance here.
Round 9.
Well, into the 9th round of this heavyweight contest. And again, just a spot of housekeeping, because in the event that Judge Jack Massey was judged the winner of that round, remember, beautiful left jab by Jack Massey once again. But it's the 10-point must system. One boxer must score 10. So in the event that Jack Massey did win, it would read 10-1. One boxer must register 10 on the scorecard, but Jack Massey hit with a warning in round number 8 for excessive holding. So Joseph Parker just appearing to be stuck in mud a little bit in rounds 7 and 8 after a really strong performance in round 6, where he landed perhaps the best shot of the entire contest with a jolting right uppercut, but just seems to have lost his way since then, and Jack Massey has been encouraged by that. The boxer's just on the edge of range at centre ring. Left jab to the body is a bent arm shot landed by Jack Massey, and then Joseph Parker just steamrolling him back towards the red corner, Joseph Parker's own corner on the far side of the ring. Triple left hook fight in by Joe Parker, looking to do a Roy Jones Jr. impression. Roy Jones Jr. will be in the house later on, of course, as the trainer of Chris Eubank Jr. Joseph Parker trying a triple left hook, just as Roy Jones used to use, particularly against Percy Harris during his illustrious career. And now the two men circling with the lead left hands, trying to draw a lead that they can counter. It's Jack Massey who pulls the trigger first, but he couldn't find the range. And Joseph Parker, well, it really is a rather bemusing performance here, because he's shaping, he's feinting, but there's no intent or no bad intentions behind his punch picking. He's not let his hands go for this entire 20-second portion of the round, watching, waiting, standing on the edge of range. And in the meantime, Jack Massey, his confidence and belief continuing to strengthen and deepen, and he's the man who is the first to pull the trigger and land a shot without reply inside the final minute of the penultimate round. And Joseph Parker, who for my money was in complete control through the first 6 rounds, Jack Massey was letting his hands go. There Jack Massey lands a left hook on the inside, and the most furious trade-off of the entire contest breaks out at centre ring. First and third boxing by Joseph Parker, perhaps saw him get the better of that exchange. But Jack Massey's belief strengthening by the second, because he's being faced with an opponent who is bordering on the pacifist here. There he came forward behind a double left jab. Ponderous right cross and then left hook poured in by Joseph Parker. But considering that he's some 10 pounds lighter than he was against Joe Joyce last time out, he is appearing a slightly ponderous fighter through the closing stages of this round. And it's Jack Massey who is letting his hands go in aggressive fashion. Didn't find the range, but a rather passive round from the former WBO heavyweight champ.
Yeah, passive, not a bad shout. I'm going to throw in there, there's no fear, there's no real motivation here. I'm going to go back to that conversation I had with Joe after the weigh-in, when I said, is there any chance you can underestimate him? Well, he might have done everything the same, but in the back of his head, he knows he can't lose this fight. In the back of his head, he knows he can't get clipped and go down. Even if he gets cut, then it'll open up. It's not a great statement by Joseph Parker, but he is coming off a devastating 11th round knockout defeat to Joe Joyce. So he gets the win from here, and he moves on, and he gets one of the big names. Or, Joe, the other British heavyweight contenders look at him and say, I'll have a bit of Joseph Parker.
Exactly. I'm looking at it and thinking Joe Joyce took more out of Joe Joyce took more out of Joseph Parker than an 11th round stoppage in September last year. I think the aftermath still could be playing on here now with Joseph Parker.
For the 10th and final round.
So both boxers touch gloves to begin the 10th and final round, and as we suggested before the opening bell of this contest, that contest against Joe Joyce was one which perhaps elevated the standing of Joseph Parker, but it was such a grueling, attritional encounter. Has it diminished him physically? He started this contest looking comfortable, moving, flowing freely, but just the lack of activity from his hands, particularly in rounds 8 and 9, have allowed Jack Massey to showcase his skills here in this contest. And he's not been outmatched physically, and he's certainly not been intimidated by the reputation of Joseph Parker. Big swing and a miss with the right hook, and there's a cut. Is there a cut to the left eye of Jack Massey? Just a trace of red around that optic, just looking to see whether the skin has broken, as the two men leaning on one another at centre ring, and there is indeed a cut to the left eye of Jack Massey. That blood's been smeared around his temple now. Minute gone in this final round. Good left, right from Jack Massey, and it causes Joseph Parker to back up beyond punching range, and he just walks back into range, claims his man, and the two men leaning on once again. So Jack Massey having pockets of success with his sharp punch picking, as Joseph Parker comes forward behind a double jab, but his work inaccurate once again. I think Jack Massey needs a knockout to win this contest for what it's worth. Such was the control that Joseph Parker exerted in the first half of the fight, all the way through to round number 7, when he enjoyed a really strong performance. Round 6 was a strong performance. But since that time, Jack Massey has been in this contest every second of the way. Right hand lead is a big miss, and then a right uppercut during a trade-off landed by Joseph Parker just caused Jack Massey to lose his balance. The sheer weight of the shot caused him to lose his boxing stance, and Joseph Parker coming forwards with greater urgency now. Double jab, right cross, but all the shots were off the mark, and Jack Massey just holding on as he was momentarily pinned to the ropes at around figure 2 on the clock face, perhaps just still feeling the effects of that shot which got his attention a few moments ago. The left eye bleeding more profusely now inside the final minutes of this final round, and for a heavyweight debut, well, Jack Massey has acquitted himself very well indeed. At just 15 stone 5 pounds, I'm not sure whether he's going to have the bulk to compete with the modern day heavyweights, but in terms of boxing ability, as he takes a hard right cross to the body and left hook to the head, well, it's been a very solid, commendable display by Jack Massey. We're edging towards the 10-second clapper. Joe Parker will have got himself back to winning ways tonight, but Jack Massey with a right cross left hook and another right hook on the inside for Jack Massey. Both boxers letting their hands go in a terrific trade-off at centre ring inside the final 10 seconds. Joe Parker looking for a treble left hook once again, and the contest ends with both men letting their hands go at mid-range. Sportingly applauded by the crowd here, which is close to capacity now at the Manchester Arena. Little doubt that Joseph Parker has returned to winning ways. We await the verdict from the referee Darren Sargenson, who docked a point from Jack Massey for excessive holding in round number 8. But Jack Massey acquitting himself very well indeed on his heavyweight debut, not overawed by the credentials or the ability of Joseph Parker, and holding his own for large parts of the contest.
So he's moved up from cruiserweight. He hasn't even gained that much weight, to be perfectly honest with you, unlike some other cruisers that move up with massive weight regimes. He's gone to 10 rounds against a heavyweight who is in the world's top 10, whether you like it or not. He is in the world's top 10, and he's been competitive in an odd fight. And Joseph Parker, not a vintage performance, maybe should have done things differently, but really he's won 7 or 8 of the 10 rounds. There's an argument he's won all 10 rounds, to be honest. I still find that a really strange fight, Joe. It was a really odd 10 rounds of boxing.
It really was. There was times we thought Joseph Parker, I think it was around 5 or 6, found his groove, and he's got to go through the gears to get Jack Massey out. But for whatever reason, listen, Andy Lee will be pulling his hair out on that performance tonight.
Yes, absolutely right.
He didn't really keep his shape or his composure, and like you say, seemed to switch off it and drift down the end. And Jack Massey was always, Jack Massey was always throwing that right hand, sneaky right hand, and having success. And as you're seeing down the straight, then the last half minute, both stepping the light, letting the hands go. But full credit to Jack Massey. His stock's risen tonight, and this isn't a Joseph Parker heavyweight former world champion that's on the way out. He still has ambitions himself of challenging for a world title, and Jack Massey tonight there can cover himself in glory in that performance tonight.
I mean, you think about it, if after the Joyce fight, which was a great 11th round defeat, a great defeat, I know that sounds like a contradiction in terms, if Daniel Dubois was defending his version of the WBA title, Joseph Parker can be in the opposite corner. I mean, let's get it right. He can bounce in. You know, he could fight. He could have fought Andy Ruiz. He could have been an outsider to fight Deontay Wilder. Instead, he fought a local kid here in Manchester, having his first fight, or first real fight, as a heavyweight. A bizarre fight.
Here's Big Mo. about to give us the particulars at the conclusion of that 10-round contest in the heavyweight division.
Ladies and gentlemen, another round of applause for these two warriors this evening. After 10 full rounds, we go to the judges' scorecards for the official decision. Judge Phil Edwards scores at 96-93, while Judge Howard Foster scores at 97-92, and Judge Victor Laughlin scores at 97-93. Declaring your winner by unanimous decision, Lupe Soliai, Laaulia Mailatoa, Joseph Parker.
So a unanimous points decision in favor of Joseph Parker, 96-93 on the scorecard of Phil Edwards, 97-92 on that of Howard Foster, 97-93 returned by Victor Laughlin. Handshakes all round between the respective camps. A unanimous points decision verdict for Joe Parker, who returns to winning ways. But Jack Massey, on his heavyweight debut, very competitive in a contest against the former WBO heavyweight champion of the world. Let's see what the fistic future holds for Jack Massey. Will he remain at heavyweight, go back down to cruiser on what is a lively domestic scene? But Joseph Parker, he'll be looking to kick on and get himself back in contention for a world title shot of some sort.
Listen, he's got the win, and in heavyweight boxing, more than in any other of the weight divisions, the win is all important. He's got that win, he's back in the mix, people will be gunning for him, other fighters out there will fancy a bit of it. And as for Massey, I'm convinced he'll stay at heavyweight. He'll gain a few pounds. I don't want to see him gain it in a slobby way. He'll gain those pounds. And there are 10 or 15 British heavyweights below the top 2 or 3 where Jack Massey would become an interesting fight. Because if some of the guys, some of the unbeaten prospects, if they're missing with shots that you can read a mile off, Jack Massey's going to avoid their punches and float through, and maybe he gains a bit of confidence as it goes on. I think, how about bridgerweight, Joe? Or we're not allowed to say bridgerweight, that's like swearing. This is something that's been introduced by the sanctioning bodies in between cruiserweight and heavyweight. What about bridgerweight? What about a fight between Jack Massey and Alan Savage the Babbage? Come on, Big Joe.
That's a good fight, Alan Babbage. Like I say, he's not a big heavyweight now, but looking at Jack there, he's not ready for the big heavyweights that's out there. But like I say, the small heavyweights that's in the division, the British champion at the moment now.
Fabio Wardley.
Yeah, Fabio Wardley's a good fight for him to go straight into. I'm sure there'll be offers. There's one thing that there won't be. There'll be offers on the table for Jack Massey after this performance tonight.
Well, gentlemen, I mentioned it during commentary. Can you think of a tougher step up from a cruiserweight making his heavyweight debut than that which Jack Massey has taken on tonight?
Well, I think I may have been there. Atlantic City, I think it's 1990 or 89, when I think it was Evander Holyfield's first fight at heavyweight. He fought unbeaten Alex Stewart, who was dangerous. However, I think there's a chance that he slipped in an earlier heavyweight fight or well above the cruiserweight limit, so I might be wrong. David Hayes is not a bad one, but he had a heavyweight fight against Thomas Boney
at Wembley,
which he slipped in, then went back to cruiserweight. But it's good. I mean, you know, and Alex Stewart may not have been a top 10 heavyweight at that time, but he was a dangerous heavyweight at that time. I mean, I think Steve Lillis, who's a writer and boxing guy that I really admire and really respect, he's convinced that what Jack Massey was doing in here tonight has never been done by a cruiserweight. So, full credibility to him. That's a little bit of history made in this ring tonight. A ring, by the way, that's not short of history being made in it, Joe.
No, it isn't. I was just trying to work out then, who did Alexander Usyk step up a fight in his first heavyweight fight?
In the States, Michael
Hunter.
Michael
Hunter was a cruiserweight defence. I think Michael Hunter was a cruiserweight. Just check.
We'll have to check that.
But if it was Michael Hunter, that's not bad. But I don't think, in my opinion, because here's the thing, the jump goes two ways, Ronald. It goes who the opponent is and who is the man making the jump. Now, Alexander Usyk was a massive gold medalist and a multiple world champion, so him making the jump to heavyweight to fight Michael Hunter, who was an Olympian and a decent fighter, don't get me wrong, it's not the same as Jack Massey from a building site, scaffold pole Jack Massey, suddenly fighting a guy who's been involved in some enormous fights over the last X amount of months.
Jack Massey hadn't fought on the world stage. He had a version of a world title, an interim type of belt, but as you say, he wasn't a Usyk or whatever. But that step up tonight to fight Joseph Parker, who here beat Tyson Fury, cousin Huey Fury,
Huey
a few,
Fury.
few years back on a split decision.
So let's have a look here. We've got Usyk's record. So let me have a look. Mate, so Chaz Witherspoon. Yeah, that's not bad. Chaz Witherspoon. Oh, no, that was yeah, maybe was it
Yeah,
Chaz?
no, Jack Massey wins.
No, Chaz Witherspoon. So this is a bigger step up. This is a bigger jump.
Yeah.
Chaz is a decent enough fighter. A reserve at the 2004 Olympics.
So Joseph Parker will look to go onwards and upwards. We're set to hear from him in just a few moments' time. Our ringside reporter, Manveer Rai, just waiting for Joe Parker, and Joe Parker has finished his previous television duties, and so now we're going to hand over to Manveer Rai and get the immediate post-fight thoughts of the former WBO heavyweight champion of the world, Joseph Parker.